In a lead up to the RLCS Winter Split Major, there was a lot of conversation surrounding one of the best teams in the world. On March 20th of 2022, the CEO and founder of Sandrock Gaming, Incivik, put out a tweet saying, "Been having a few problems with the boys' visas. Hopefully we get it done soon enough." And this was after a lot of conversation surrounding the team already. There was multiple times where we saw the chance that some of the players would not make it due to circumstances due to school and otherwise. A lot of us very excited about the fact that we may get to finally see the star player of the MENA region in Khalid finally getting his debut at RLCS. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Over the next few days and weeks, we got to see more and more information unfold about the true issues that were going on behind the scenes with Sandrock Gaming. In today's video, we're going to break it all down. We're going to talk about all the different things that were happening with Sandrock Gaming and what it has led to, as well as the potential future of this team. So with that said, I'll do my best to provide any insight as well as walk you through this situation that unfortunately is leaving a really sour taste in my mouth. So March 22nd, 2022, we get a message putting out by Incivik, the CEO and founder of Sandrock Gaming, that says, "Been having a few problems with the boys' visas. Hopefully we get it done soon." And a lot of us obviously immediately are like, oh no, are Sandrock Gaming going to be able to go and compete? And the last time we saw them at the Fall Split Major, we saw Sandrock Gaming have a top 8 performance with their sub in Senzo and the new addition of Turk or TRK, who absolutely popped off, showcased potential talent of top 15 in the world, and we knew this team was something special. And that only continues to grow. The MENA region primarily used to be just one team. And so far, it has been Sandrock Gaming that, through all adversity, continues to win every single event. They have never dropped a event. They've won every single one. They're automatically qualified for the wild card stage of the World Championship. I'm not even talking spring, which hasn't even happened yet. And this team is already guaranteed perform in the first week of 2 at the RLCS World Championship in Dallas, which we'll talk about in a future video. So the complication is one of the best teams in the world may not be there, and again without their full roster. And this started to evolve as we got even more information just a few short days later on March 22nd, where RLesports ended up putting out an update. It's a Sandrock Gaming update leading up to the RLCS Winter Major. Sonics worked to secure all necessary travel documentation and visas required for teams to travel to Los Angeles. Due to both personal reasons and complexities introduced in the visa process, Sandrock Gaming unfortunately will not be able to travel to the United States. We allowed for as much time for the situation to resolve as possible, but the circumstances were ultimately outside of our control. This means we will be continuing forward with a 15-team tournament. No changes will be made to the format, but there will be minor changes to the schedule. Sandrock Gaming's status for this tournament will be Did Not Participate, or DNP, and Group D will continue as a 3-team group, automatically securing the spots for the rest of those teams in that group. They will award Sandrock Gaming 120 RLCS points, which is equivalent of placing 13th to 16th. Because the team cannot perform and they do not have the ability to showcase that they are going to have the same results, they must say, hey, we have to give you the worst place, because there's no guarantee that you would have performed better than that, and there's no assumptions we can make either way. This is a very tough situation, and we share the frustration of Sandrock Gaming and our fans. We're unbelievably proud of Sandrock Gaming's success this season, and we look forward to welcoming them back to RLCS events in the future, which is nice because those have been announced very much so in the future, so hopefully this does not happen again. So part of the things that you can deduce from this is they do talk about trying to give them as much time as possible. This was literally put out the day before competition. They were doing everything in their power to make sure that the team could get over. At one point, they're even willing to play with their coach because some of the players may have been able to join, but in the end, it was only one player that was going to be able to attend, so therefore they had to sign up as DNP, which is really unfortunate. 2 minutes after that post, and we saw the information from them, Incivik, their CEO and founder, says, "Our mission at Sandrock Gaming was to put MENA on the map," which they have most definitely accomplished. "We did that and couldn't be prouder of the boys. With that being said, I am stepping down as CEO of the org. Good luck on your future endeavors. You're this country's pride and joy." And so many words from multiple people across the scene who have felt Incivik's involvement, single-handedly running tournaments and providing tournaments for their region to compete in, because they, in the past, for 5 years did not have RLCS as one of the things to do it. You saw many a player retire because there was no hope in sight until this season of RLCS 21-22 got announced, and they showed that the MENA region was allowed to compete. And since then, we've seen multiple teams from that region be able to compete in regular tournaments, and you're starting to see depth in the region. I can single-handedly give you 5 teams that I think are all extremely capable of performing from just MENA alone, and it's absolutely fantastic to see. But a lot of the reason why they're even on the map altogether, one, Johnny Boy and his continued pursuit to put Sandrock Gaming in front of people, and 2, Incivik's individual efforts on supporting this community and putting in tournaments. So to see him step away as the CEO comes as a really big shock. He has cared and put in blood, sweat, and tears to make this team a thing. His own money making sure that this team has the support in order to make them successful. And it's surprising to see him now step down due to this circumstance. And a lot of us have felt and left wondering, what is going on? Why is this the case? A few days later, on March 25th, Sandrock Gaming announces that they are releasing Ahmad, Turk, and Khaled. All operations of Sandrock Gaming will be suspended. This is effective immediately. So all of a sudden, you have no longer a CEO. The team is released and officially free agents. And I'm even more confused. I'm seeing this while I'm live. I'm doing a watch party with version 1, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? This team was supposed to be a team that many of us considered to be almost top 6 in the world, and finally getting to play with a guy in Khaled who has been the face of their region for so long, and all of a sudden it's all gone. And it just leaves you with what the heck is happening. And luckily, Incivik, being the guy that he is, shortly after then puts out a TwitLonger. About 3-4 hours later, Incivik puts out a message saying to put this all to rest, or put this all to rest. TwitLonger describes basically that he doesn't like writing things and speaking publicly about this stuff. He's a very private person, but there's a lot of messages and conversations happening because of the lack of information. A lot of people left wondering, therefore people speculate, and unfortunately the wrong people usually get put to blame. So he said it doesn't think that it's fair to ignore what's going on and would like to set the record straight. He says, my personal team and I did everything we could to get the boys where they need to be and to achieve their dreams. Unfortunately, the only problems I encountered were for some of the players, as they didn't respond and cooperate on time with me or my personal team when I needed them to, and the visa issues this major was nothing but just one of those problems and not the only problem. So while we see only sunshine and rainbows, there is a lot of times that these organizations deal with a lot of complications, whether it be players, orgs, or otherwise. We've seen both sides of it. And Incivik is saying, hey, I'm doing everything I can, but there's complications on the player's behalf. We tried to apply for visas since the 9th of February, which is more than enough time to secure visas for them, which is true. I chose to not give them contracts as I respected their situations with family, which is unpredictable, and that some things can't be written on paper that will predict those said situations. So although he is representing the team with Sandrock Gaming and the players are choosing to do so, they aren't under contract. Because they aren't under contract, he legally can't enforce them to do anything. The reason why this was chosen to be done is because he states that he respected their situations with family, and it's unpredictable that some things can't be written on paper that will predict those said situations. And because there is no legally binding contract stating, I am paying you to do this thing, I legally can't force you to do this thing. And he's doing that out of respect of the parents. What that necessarily entails, I can only assume the culture over there is very much so different from where I am from. And a lot of times the parents have expectations of the younger kids to follow certain guidelines and do certain things when it comes to school and otherwise, which makes a lot of sense. And again, this is just me speculating. This is not the exact reason, but there has been a lot of times where players have had to miss things due to schooling, and it feels like this is kind of a similar situation. Incivik then tells about how it's a problem that's been going on for a while, and I have more important things to do than to help someone that doesn't give me all their time when I'm giving them theirs. And I can't imagine the frustration. Here's a guy, as I mentioned earlier, trying to do everything in his power to build up this team and give them everything they could ask for so they can be successful in a game, and they go and have success when they get to go and compete, even with a sub. And not saying that Senzo's bad by any means, he's absolutely incredible, but without a starting roster. He says, the boys didn't leave because they need money, as I never took 1 cent away from them as they earn in tournaments locally, which they are very successful in local tournaments. They win just about every single one, and they're doing great in the RLCS as well. which is way more than what a few pros earned in their whole career. And Sandrock Gaming took 20% of all earnings abroad, not to fund SRG, but to fund their travels and salaries, nothing more. So while they are taking tournament winnings when they go and do stuff, it is basically put back, from what I can tell, into the team to pay for their travel and their accommodations when they do need to go and represent the roster. Incivik then talks about stepping down as CEO, and the reason why is because my position for this was built for the players and not for myself. They decided to leave the org without second thoughts of what this team was made for, which is them. I had some talks with people who are fully capable of running Sandrock Gaming, but the players said they don't want any other management but mine and my team. With all that said, I don't regret one bit doing everything I've done as them, as they helped me achieve my main goal to begin with, which was to help Mina in the RLCS. Thank you to everyone who supported Sandrock Gaming and throughout the years. It's been an honor for me to represent my region, and I wish the boys nothing but the best. So at this point, a lot of us are left questioning, what exactly is the end decision for the team? From the sounds of it, the Sandrock Gaming players don't want to work with anybody else but the management team that Incivik brought in. Seems based upon, obviously, the expertise and everything else they were able to handle. The players were extremely happy, but despite this, they're not willing to continue to sign with Sandrock and represent Sandrock in the coming events. Now, I don't know if this goes back to the family situation and the higher up situation of what's going on behind the scenes that we are unfamiliar with, but it does feel like this has been an ongoing problem. There's been numerous times where Sandrock Gaming roster from Mina has had opportunities from big organizations like Team Liquid to make the transition and go compete and take this as a very serious opportunity. I don't know if I'm just reading too much into it, that it's a cultural thing and that the parents want different intentions and it's out of the players' control. But this seems to be an ongoing thing in more than just Mina. I've seen this happen with other rosters within Europe as well. This leaves us, I guess, questioning and wondering what is the next step for what I deem is one of the best teams in Europe. Based upon my predictions and everything else, I had Sandrock Gaming as a shoe-in for top 8 minimum. They looked very, very solid, and I think they would have changed the results of the group that they were in significantly. But at the same time, it makes you question what, I guess I'm also I'm left. I don't even know if it's confused or otherwise, but there is times where you don't get team player family support. And luckily, you know, with watching and hanging out with V1 all last week, I saw what it's like to have the parents fully backing their players. But we've also seen the opposite in previous events. You also see parents getting too involved in making decisions for their players because they want the best for what's their kids. And I don't know if that's necessarily the thing to blame. There's so many questions that I still have about this scenario, but I will say that if the players and everybody else is open to it, this is the most sought after team in the world right now. You see organizations looking for opportunities to get players, and you're talking probably no buyout because the team has already been released, and you have a team that is already secured for the biggest event of the world. It's a wet dream. Everybody is going to want this roster, but is it even going to be able to happen? I honestly don't know. So hopefully that tells you guys the full story of what's going on. There's still a lot of more details that I don't think will ever see the light of day, but personally to Incivik, I've gotten to sit and talk with him. He means nothing but the best. He's done nothing but the best for this team and for this region, and it really sucks to see him take a step back because truly a hidden gem for the Rocket League community. When we talk Rocket League history books, Incivik is going to be a major chapter of that, and it's unfortunate right as we're starting to see Rocket League esports really evolve to that next level. So with that said, I'm Lawler. I've been covering this, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. If you guys want to see more stuff like this, by all means, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications. And I'll try to keep you up to date on further developments, because as of right now, I will be surprised if we do not see this team signed by a professional organization at a moment's notice. Have a good one.